Hello and welcome to the Data training series. This video will cover the basics of formatting your Excel datasets for ease of use in MarketSight. In a well-formatted Excel dataset, each column represents a variable, while each row represents a respondent or record. Excel files can be uploaded independently or in conjunction with a dataset labeling workbook. Any data you want to analyze should always be on the first worksheet, as data on other worksheets is not uploaded. Try to avoid having blank columns or rows in your Excel files. Although these may make the data easier to navigate while in Excel, a blank row will become an extra blank record in the dataset once the file is uploaded to MarketSight. Every cell in the first row of your dataset will become the variable codes and labels you see in MarketSight. We recommend brief labels to maximize ease of use in the application, but you can always use the question text here. Labels can be changed at any time through the use of Dataset Labeling Workbook. Finally, you will want to choose how to handle missing values, which can occur when respondents do not have the answer of question or are routed past it by survey logic and the survey is designed to leave the equivalent cell empty. One option is to leave these missing responses blank if you would like. The advantage to this approach is that it's quick and easy. However, it's important to note that a blank is equivalent to nothing, meaning it is different than a value of 0. As a result, these blanks are not counted towards this total sample size. When you leave the missing responses blank, you will ultimately end up with a sample size that is equal to the number of respondents who answered that particular question instead of the true total respondent count. By default, your cross-tab calculation will reflect this reduced number and you will need to remember to use the rebasing feature. You could choose to use a value such as NA or 99 to represent these missings. A survey can be coded this way or you can modify the dataset if needed. This makes it easy to use the total respondent count as your sample size. However, you might need to specify missing values later in the process as these numeric values can inflate the mean. Now that we have covered basic dataset structure, let's take a look at the content of the dataset itself. An Excel dataset can be either text-based or numeric. That is, I can have a word or phrase in a cell such as 1 to 6 times, or I can have a number that represents that value. MarketSight will automatically code text-based data for you. If you plan on using a text-based dataset, you can achieve the best results by being aware of how auto-coding operates and formatting your dataset accordingly. If you're using numeric data, you will want to use the Dataset Labeling Workbook to provide clear labels for your dataset. Please note, there is a separate video which goes into the workbook in more detail. On upload, the application will look at each column or variable, then attempt to determine the content of that column. This process is most likely to succeed if there is first several hundred rows of the dataset. If MarketSight sees text-based values with sufficient repetition, it will assign each value a numeric code. This will be done in alphabetical order. Most of the time, this setting works well. In some scenarios, such as rating scales, it may not be desirable. If the variable labeling order poses a challenge for you, you can always edit your variables after upload. If you would like to prevent the alphabetical order from occurring, we recommend using numeric data with the Dataset Labeling Workbook to create custom labeling at the time of upload. If MarketSight sees numeric data and no Dataset Labeling Workbook has been provided, it will treat the variable as a continuous numeric variable with no labels. If MarketSight is unable to determine the variable type, it will render the variable as text. If you want to have more control over the variable type, work with the numeric dataset and a copy of the Dataset Labeling Workbook. You may wish to watch the separate video on the workbook for success. We hope you find this video helpful and thank you for watching.